Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is Joe Pugh for IFL TV. We're here at the Bermondsey Boxing Club for the media workout day for your man, Mr. Adam Morley. Tommy Fletcher, who's out on Feb 10th. But first of all, how are you, mate?
Very well, thanks, mate. How are you, Joe?
Very well. First time catching up since the new year, so we'll start off with first fighter out. Go straight into it. I believe you're going straight to Vegas tomorrow for Johnny Fisher?
Going to Vegas for Johnny Fisher, making his overseas debut against Bezos. A lot of the Romford Bull Army coming out, so it's exciting for Johnny. It's great for him, great for Matchroom to back him and put him out in Las Vegas.
I know there's been some like little posters flying about of Adelaide Fisher for potentially later on in the year, so it's a good little measuring stick, isn't it, with Bezos being the opponent?
Yeah, there is. I mean, look, I think Johnny isn't David Adelaide's challenging for British titles. Johnny will challenge for British titles in his career, but probably not in the next couple fights. You know, Johnny's won the Southern area. Next, we'll move him on to the English in due course, and then a big British title fight. But we'll take our time.
A big opportunity for not just Johnny, but I know there's a few guys from Essex out there, but a chance to a little bit of a tester to see how these brilliant fans will travel, certainly for the bigger fights.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Johnny's going to take, I think, 150, 200 fans out there, which doesn't sound like a lot, but all those people have got to pay, you know, grand and a half, flights, accommodation, ticket. So Johnny's got a real massive hardcore of fans, and then if he does have a massive fight out in Vegas, you know, they're hoping it's going to have like the Ricky Hatton effect for Johnny Fisher.
Move on to the next week then, while we're here today, Tommy Fletcher. But first of all, someone who's fighting also on the same night, John Hedges. Really good to see him return. He had a great first half to last year, putting in some great performances, but then hand injury caused a bit of a layoff, and now he's moving up to cruiserweight, I understand.
Yeah, he's moving up to cruiserweight. I think when you have an injury like that, when you have a layoff, it allows, as a management team, you get together with the boxer, talk to the trainer and see what we can really work on. And I think for a lot of the young boxers, they do have trouble with their hands. Johnny's had problems as well, and it's hard to get them to take a layoff. Like, you want them to lay off for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months even, but it's hard because they're desperate to box. So John's done brilliantly there. We've looked at a number of things around his S&C and his nutrition. I'm really looking forward to him coming back.
Big year for him?
Massive year. I think massive year for him and Tommy, actually. They've had their kind of apprenticeship, but like Johnny had his Southern Area title last year. I think these two should be looking at Southern Area level belts and fights this year. And no, I don't want them to fight each other, though. No.
Will it never happen?
No Hedges v Fletcher. No, I mean, no.
It's the same training camp and the same management stable, so it's very unlikely unless there's huge money involved. So, first of all, how much compensation are you going to have to give to Al Smith holding the pads today? Because, mate, Al Smith, for anyone who doesn't know, just said touch, and Tommy Fletcher's touch was like a fucking wrecking ball.
Yeah, Tommy's big puncher, very big puncher at cruiserweight. I think eventually he will move up to heavyweight. He gets bigger, and he's got that kind of wiry, Wilder style power. Got, you know, very big hopes for Tommy, and yeah, he's fighting someone who Johnny Fisher's fought, actually. So he's actually fighting a heavyweight on this card. So it's a good little test for him.
And Sold Acres, I believe.
Pardon?
Sold Acres fought him as well. So he's an S-Jam favourite.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, good opponent.
Moving on to the Sold Acres. Have we got an opponent for him for that Magnificent Seven card?
So we were talking about Adelaide. Adelaide has got to appear in front of the board. And then once he appears in front of the board, the fight should be made March 16th for the English. So we're very hopeful of that, and I've heard nothing to the contrary.
Is there any possibility that gets pushed back a little bit if it doesn't go Adelaide's way when he goes before the board?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's always a possibility. I don't think he's going to get a ban. I mean, he did something a bit silly, and he's going to apologise, and that's that. So, look, Sol wants that fight next. I think it's a good fight, good way to defend your English title, and then he wants to fight the winner of Wardley Clark whenever that happens.
Joe Joyce versus Cash Ali. We were just talking about off camera. Decent reception, a little bit controversial. How do you think, as a comeback fight off the back of 2 losses to Zhilei Zhang, how do you think and how did you come to him as an opponent?
Look, we worked hard with the matchmakers at Queensbury. We want a comeback fight that is of a certain level. We don't want to go straight into like world level, with the greatest respect to Cash Ali. We're looking at Tom Schwartz. We had a very good conversation with Tom Schwartz. He then got made mandatory for the European and was fighting another opponent. But look, Cash is, I think he's 22-2. Is that right, Joe? 22-2. Never been stopped. Decent, British, good level, good test for Joe to come back. And then we want Joe have this fight back out in a big fight in July.
Any particular names in the making?
I mean, the names have been said. Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker's fighting. Joe was straight back in with a big name. I mean, he needs to get his confidence back. You come off 2 KO losses, you need to get your confidence back. But we're having a good camp right now. We're in the UK. He's with Steve Broughton. He's with Cameron Goff, his old S&C trainer, taking it back to basics. Joe's in a great place.
Are you still really confident with Joe? Because styles make fights. He quite comfortably handled Joe Parker in a great fight. Then Joe Parker goes on to really make light work of Deontay Wilder. And then we've now got Zhang versus Parker. So it's all swings and roundabouts, and I'm sure he'll get back to the top by the end of this year.
Absolutely. Look, I think people have got very short memories in boxing. Joe gets knocked out, and that's all that matters. Joe Joyce has been knocked out, and no one really cares about what happened before. You saw it with Anthony Joshua when he lost to Ruiz, when he lost twice to Usyk, written off, rubbish, and then he comes back and has 3 wins, and AJ's great again. So I think people have very, very short memories, but Joe's got to do the business. So I think Joe beats Cash Ali, then let's say he fights a Dubois and beats him. He's right back at the top of the heavyweight division. He can then call for the big fights again, but he's got to do the work.
Talk about big domestic fights. Under the Fury, AJ, the big ones in the heavyweight division don't really get much bigger than the Dubois-Joyce fight, does it?
No, I think, look, a lot of fights going on in Saudi now, rightly so. It's becoming the capital of boxing, really, and loads of money there. But in the UK, AJ, Fury, they're going to be fighting in Saudi for quite some time, I would guess. Yeah, Joe Joyce Dubois is probably going to be the biggest heavyweight fight you're going to get in the UK, and it'd be great to have that in a kind of 20, 30,000 seat arena, something like that.
Certainly will be. I want to ask you about Florian Marku. It's now been announced that fight got signed with Chris Kongo. I think you can thank IFL for that, because all that little foray happened.
We've been speaking about that fight for a long time, actually, and then, it was one of your interviews. Was it you doing the interview?
It was kind of both of us, and both me and Umar at the same time, and then it just got kind of, cross.
Yeah, there's real beef there. That's not manufactured at all. And look, Florian's in just a fantastic place at the moment in his life. He's a lot calmer. He's so much more focused, and he wants to take on everyone. He really wanted to fight Josh Taylor, and we got close on that fight. Didn't happen for a variety of different reasons. But he wants to take on everyone now. He's 31 years old, and his time is now. So good fight for Florian.
What's going on with Junaid Boston, coming off the back of a great win in Arizona?
Ramadan is coming up, so we're talking about whether he's going to participate on March 23rd. It's kind of touch and go for Junaid. We don't know if he's going to be fit in time and how Ramadan affects that, but that's going to be very minor. And then as soon as that happens, as soon as that is out of the way, if he doesn't fight, he'll be straight back out in May. I mean, Junaid had a good win against Gordy Russ. There's a real heart check, chin check. He wants to step up. I mean, he's already beaten 2 area level opponents. So Junaid's going to be pushing soon for a British title.
Talk of a potential next-gen headliner in Rotherham?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I think Junaid is a TV fighter now. Yeah. He's always going to be a TV fighter. He's one of Matchroom's brightest prospects. So moving him quick, 21 years old.
Certainly are. Then the last person I want to speak to you about is Lerone Richards. We spoke in Brighton after his return. First fight with Wasserman. When is he going to be back out?
So Lerone, we've locked in an opponent. Can't say who it is yet. But we're talking with Wasserman. Again, they want him on TV. So it's going to be in the next 1 to 2 months, Lerone will be out. But good opponent for him, and he's coming back down to super middleweight. He wants to do some damage at that weight.
What are the plans for him by the end of this year? Because he's someone who needs activity and he wants a big title now, doesn't he?
Yeah, look, Lerone's a world champion, IBO world champion. He's a very, very classy fighter, and he had a bad year, didn't fight, and then came back, in Leicester, and now he's working his way back up. Wasserman, Nissa Sauerland, shout out to Nissa Sauerland, really backing Lerone, wants him on TV. Then we want to get him back to the top of the division. He's going to fight high-ranked guys. And the trouble with Lerone is he's never going to be picked as someone to voluntarily defend against. So we've got to get him right back up to the top of the division and world titles.
Last one, shout out Archie Slaymaker, new signee for S-Jam, a good addition to the team.
Yeah, great addition. Like Archie was running his own site, International Boxing News, which he's had to step away from now. But a guy that understands what's going on in boxing, good contacts, young guy. Yeah, he's got a good future ahead of him.
Excellent. Adam, thank you very much for speaking to IFL TV.
One more shout, just a couple more shouts, Joe. Guido Vianello boxing in New York on the 16th of Feb, and Nicola Bark making her debut on the 22nd of March. Yeah,
Nicola Bark. I spoke to Nicola Bark actually, and very, very interesting lady, isn't she?
Yeah, incredible character, and see her debut on TNT.
There's a ghost at Bermondsey Gym here. Adam, thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, Joe.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.